What's good, Warchant community? Welcome into a brand new Noles in the NFL segment. I'm Ben Spicer. We'll be looking at former Florida State standouts who have gone on to the professional ranks. We told you about all those former Noles that have gone on to the NFL last week on the show. This week, we're going to be looking at some standout performances from week 3, also foreshadowing a little bit, looking at week 4 matchups, seeing who those former Florida State players are playing on their NFL teams this week. But before we get into that week 3 recap, I wanted to mention a former Florida State running back has found a new home as Cam Akers, formerly a member of the Los Angeles Rams, now a Minnesota Viking, as he was traded alongside a 2026 seventh round pick for a 2026 sixth round pick to Minnesota. The Rams had attempted to trade Akers a year ago, but were unsuccessful. He's in the final year of his rookie contract. Of course, won a Super Bowl with the Rams, had a great season with Los Angeles, had an injury that kind of set him back, but he was expected to be the number one running back this year. And just a few weeks into the season, now traded to Minnesota. The Vikings will get the chance to play the Panthers. Not sure if we'll see Cam Akers in that one, but that's who Minnesota has up this week. Of course, Carolina has a bunch of former Florida State players with 3 former Noles on their team. We'll talk about one who stood out last week coming up. But for now, we move on to former number 1 overall pick, Jamus Winston, who was thrust into action on Sunday against the Green Bay Packers after starting quarterback Derek Carr went down. He had an AC joint sprain. He's listed as week to week. He might be able to go this Sunday, which is interesting because the Saints actually play Winston's former team in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Winston had a good game coming in off the bench for Derek Carr. 10 for 16 passing, 101 yards. Got his team in position to try for a go-ahead field goal against the Packers, but the kick was missed. So New Orleans went on to lose 18-17 to Green Bay. Again, interesting to see if Winston starts. Derek Carr seemed like he wanted to give it a go, but was listed as week to week, so not sure if he will be able to go or not. So we could see Jamus Winston going up against his former team in Tampa Bay this weekend. Going out now to Los Angeles, but looking at the Chargers, where in that secondary, of course, for Los Angeles, you have Derwin James Jr. as well as Asante Samuel Jr. Now, Derwin James had some unfortunate news earlier this week. On Friday, a tweet from Adam Schefter said James will be doubtful for this weekend's game against Las Vegas. He's got a hamstring injury. He had 7 total tackles in a 28-24 win over Minnesota, but not looking good that he will play this weekend against the Raiders. As for Asante Samuel Jr., 6 total tackles, 2 pass deflections in that game against the Vikings. Carolina's Brian Burns with another solid performance in week 3. A loss to Seattle, but Burns had 4 total tackles and a sack. Jaylen Ramsey still on the injured reserve list for the Miami Dolphins, hoping to get back out on the field in December. He will have to miss the majority of this season, but expected to return late in the 2023 campaign after sustaining that meniscus tear in team camp. I wanted to bring Ramsey up, of course, because Miami is off to a 3-0 start on the season, coming off that 70-20 defeat over Denver. They're getting set to take on the Buffalo Bills this weekend. Sticking in that division, the AFC East, the New York Jets, of course, they have Dalvin Cook as well as Jermaine Johnson. Dalvin Cook still trying to figure things out, find his footing up there with the Jets, who just have an atrocious offensive line. Cook had 8 rushes for 18 yards and 3 catches for 11 yards in a 15-10 loss to New England. The Jets have now lost 2 straight. For Jermaine Johnson, he finished with 3 total tackles. And things don't get easier for the Jets. They've got Kansas City in prime time on Sunday. We'll close out Noles in the NFL with some kicker news. How about Graham Gano? Made 2 field goals along a 57, had 4 touchbacks at a 30-12 loss to San Francisco. Gano's gone 3 for 3 after missing 2 field goals in the first game of the year. And Dustin Hopkins with the Cleveland Browns, he went 2 for 2 on field goals, also along a 52, 3 for 3 on extra points, and 4 touchbacks in a 27-3 win over Tennessee. That's all we have. The latest in Noles in the NFL. Cam Akers going on to Minnesota. We could potentially see Jamus Winston on Sunday against his former team. Plenty of former Seminole storylines in the pro ranks. If you enjoy the video, leave a comment, let us know. And thanks for watching Noles in the NFL on Warchant TV.